So, Mark, did you see the Luxor carpet from above from that grand atrium, the 17th floor? Thanks to Margaret for sending this to us. We talked about Luxor's new carpet on a show previously, but this gives you a great overview of the patterns and how exactly it looks.
Yeah, it's such a cool picture, and thank you for sharing that. It kind of reminds me, remember as a 90s kid, those games where you had to like slide the tiles back and forth and up and down to make the picture? That's exactly what thought of when I saw this.
I do have one issue with Margaret, though. She says she went to Laughlin based on your recommendation. I've been talking about it for years, and what the heck is going on?
Hope she checked out the Great Atrium.
Become a meme on this show that the Neon Museum is going on the top of a parking garage because you are obsessed with that. And this week we got a concept art. The city of Las Vegas accidentally tweeted this out, so it's not confirmed and maybe it'll change. But we got to see what this might look like on the 9th and 10th floor of a new parking garage. It's going into Art Way in Boulder. This is just off Casino Center in Charleston, very close to the Arts District if this does happen. What do you think of this concept art? It looks neat, strange.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all just concept, so we don't know what it'll look like. But like we said when we first were talking about it, if they have some cool signs at the top of the garage, it'll be awesome that you can see it from like a distance and it'll be all lit up and stuff at night. So I kind of like that. It's still weird that it's on a parking garage. I don't know that I'll ever get over that. It's such a strange place to put a museum, but I think it comes out pretty good. It looks like it'll be cool. You know, what is it, like 3 times the space? It's way more accessible at this location than it is currently, so I think that's cool. We went to the Berlin bar right across the street from there, which was a nice little place, so maybe you can hang out there before or after, grab a drink.
Yeah, and that shows you just how close it is. It'll be very visible from Charleston if they build this. The 9th story would have 47,000 square feet of indoor space, so probably some of the signs and stuff that are not restored. And then the 26 restored signs would sit in 60,000 square feet on the rooftop. I do think it's weird that it's on a garage, but if you actually just think of it as being on top of a tall building and how visible it'll be from everywhere, you'll be able to see those signs from all over. It's an improvement.
It's still garage. I mean, I don't care how you want to cut it up.
But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some news on this soon. The city of Las Vegas accidentally sent it out. I do like that location, so I think that's a huge improvement, and they should draw a lot of people compared to where they are now.
You know, that's the biggest key here is making it more accessible. It fits perfectly within the arts district. Lots of cool stuff right near there. So you can make like an evening of it, dinner, you know, at Esther's before, drinks after, all that type of stuff. Go to Silver Stamp while you're in that area. It's kind of an amazing little spot for it.
And I can't wait to see that Moulin Rouge sign lit up on the roof. That's going to be cool to be able to see from everywhere. Now, not a cool story, and I don't know if this is new or not, but somebody made waves talking about MGM charging a $15 per day phone reservation fee. A couple of people claim that they've been doing this for a couple of years. I hadn't heard of it, but essentially they're charging $15 if you call in and book a room, according to this tweet. Now it's $15 per day, and this is, I mean, fees are one thing. A lot of places have, you know, phone booking fees now, which is unfortunate, but per day, there's no difference if you make a 1-day reservation or a 5-day reservation. So I don't know. This doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I've called in to make bookings. I've never been charged it, but it was always like when something, my offer or whatever, wasn't working online properly. So maybe they waived it if there was a fee. It does seem cheap, you know, when you're charging these prices. We talked about how expensive hotels are, especially on the weekends. If you're paying like $300-400 a night for a hotel and then they tack on a $15 a night fee just because you called in to book it, and you know, some people don't feel comfortable on the internet and they prefer calling in, especially the older generation. So this is just disproportionately affecting them, or somebody that doesn't have access to internet.
It's the world we live in today. I mean, we live in a world where there's huge check-in lines because they don't want to pay people to check you in at hotels. And these are places that are supposed to provide service. It's a little strange. Again, MGM shouldn't be singled out. There are other companies that do this. I've never heard of a per day fee for a booking, so that's not cool. But overall, when your job is to sort of allure people into your casino to spend money, you would think that all these barriers wouldn't be a thing. But in modern Las Vegas, they don't want to pay anybody for anything. And anywhere they can cut, they will.
Yeah, I mean, we see it with airlines too. If you call in, some will charge you a booking fee and stuff like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I don't know. It doesn't seem right.
So let us know in the comments if you have any experience with this fee. Has it been going on for years? So staying on the MTM Vegas bingo card, we have Oyo in the news here. And they're doing an implosion promotion. Yes, September 1st through 30th. If you play at Oyo, basically the players who earn the most points are going to earn some prizes. So 5th place is like 500 in free slot play. It goes up from there. And the top three people are going to get rooms at Oyo with a view of the implosion. Normally, I don't think high rollers want to stay at Oyo, but maybe for this.
Yeah, I think it's a cool promotion. I think this is like legendary status promotion. I mean, taking advantage of a situation, and you're right there, you're right next to it, perfect views. I actually prefer the bungalow rooms when I used to stay there, which wouldn't have a view. It's out by the pool. But yeah, I think this would be kind of fun. And usually it's a random thing. This is if you put in the time and effort. I love the jokes where like, so if I bet $100, I'm probably going to win at Oyo. And then, MTM Vegas style, it's my dirty love affair watching your dirty love affair go down.
Oh man, that's something not right with the universe when it comes to that. I love that Oyo does unique things with their marketing. They obviously don't have the best reputation. People like to trash them a little bit. We both see some charm in there. It's obviously not the fanciest place, but they need these types of marketing promotions to get their name out there. And this is perfect. As you say, they have the view and will get people in there to play. And I'm sure those rooms will be going for a pretty penny, the ones that are paid for, because there are a lot of people like me that care about the trop, and not only that, but care about implosions, getting to see that part of history.
Yeah, I think it's something unique you only get every so often. So if you can be a part of it, I think people will want to be a part of it. Hopefully the winners' rooms get like painted or updated a little bit before they go in there. I don't know. I don't know if they'll get enough money from this for that, but that'd be kind of a nice little touch.
One of the more unique venues we've lost or even had in the last few years is the Lost Spirits Distillery. You talked about it, you really enjoyed it. And they had a restaurant there called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which was a themed dining experience. And that chef has obviously moved on as that restaurant closed, but is opening up Story of a Muse. Now, this is in Palm's Fantasy Tower 51st floor in the former Nove Italiano spot. It's going to be a $300 9-course dinner, and it's inspired by the Greek muse of tragedy, a gastronomic homage to the power of inspiration, love, loss, memory, and the duality of life. Sounds really neat. $300 pricey for sure, and it's going on from August 30th to September 28th. So get in there if you're interested.
You buried the lead, though. You buried it deep.
What?
You got to pay for the wine, too. It doesn't include the wine. When I first saw this, I was like, okay, $300 with wine pairing, maybe not so bad. Then I dug deeper. What is it, like $150 for the wine, which, is kind of expected for these type of things. But if you're doing that, $900 for two people, that's definitely out of my league. I know there's plenty of people that go to Vegas that would probably enjoy this, but it's shooting to the top tier of people.
Taylor Persh is the chef, and she's sort of making her name about this experiential stuff. And if she can get away with charging $300 a person and sell this thing out, make it a unique dining concept and area, and do it in a sort of pop-up way, it's interesting. And I'm glad that she's getting a chance to do this.
Yeah, I love these little pop-up things. And, even though it's out of my price range, I think it's cool that it doesn't take up a space for too long. Like they could still do something that's a little bit more accessible. But if you can use this and kind of create something unique in each time you go around.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. Lots of fun there, tons of laughs. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the info. Thanks to everybody who supports us over there. So do you remember those guys who were at Red Rock earlier this year, I think, and they were like destroying boulders, tossing them down, and basically destroying this natural beauty? And it went viral and people got upset. Well, they were arrested eventually, and now they've been indicted, and they could face up to 10 years in prison for this.
They deserve it. The only thing that would have made this like more perfect in a karma way is if they had videoed themselves doing it and posted it on TikTok or something. Because that would be the best way to get caught. I kind of hope they go to jail just so that when they're in there and they're sitting there eating and somebody looks at them and says, so what are you guys in for? And they're like, oh, we pushed some boulders down a hill.
Well, I should say they have pled not guilty, but I'm a little shocked that 10 years is the sentence that they face for this. Obviously, they could get less, but is that right? 10 years for pushing down boulders?
I mean, it's destruction of federal property type of thing, so I could see why it gets there. But, every time that they do this, it's always could be up to 20 years or 15 years or whatever, and it usually ends up being a couple years. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a fine and community service when it's all said and done, but I totally do want them to go to jail for even just for like a day, so they have to say what they're in for.
So our next thing is staying on the hiking front, the outdoors nature front. Mark sent me a video that was 10 seconds long with 4 water hikes near Las Vegas, and then I had to go figure out what these places were because they had about 2 seconds of footage for every single one. But these are some neat water hikes all within driving distance of Las Vegas. The subway in Zion, Utah, the Narrows also in Zion. Both of these look incredible. Some of them you have to have a pass for. They can be dangerous doing these, but I think water hiking is something unique. I've done it a little bit, and it kind of changes the whole perspective on the hiking experience.
Yeah, I think I love anything water, so I think it adds to it. And then maybe, it helps cool you down when you're doing this, especially in the summer months. We've talked about this a lot on the show is Vegas is one thing, like the strip and all that stuff and how crazy it gets. But there's so much nature available to you, not even in Nevada, but within a couple hours drive of Vegas. So much natural beauty that you can go to that you could use Vegas as like your jumping off point. Spend a couple days there, go out, check out some nature, come back, finish up, all that type of thing. So there really is a lot for everyone.
A couple more, the confluence in Arizona where the rivers come together looks really cool. And then Kanara Falls in Utah. This is near Cedar City, and that looks incredible as well. So I'm just going to overlay all of this with video because I haven't been to any of these places, but it was a quick reminder to just get out of the city and lots of cool nature around. So our next story is the behind the scenes of that $407,000 side bet winner at Cosmo. And there's this video, and this guy, it was his first time ever playing blackjack that day, which is just insane. And he says that he saw this flashing thing on the table, asked the dealer about it. The dealer said it's a $5 side bet, and he did it. And then he tells the story about how the royal flush sort of happened. That was where all four, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace of Diamonds, all showed up between the dealer's hand and his hand. Now, what was really funny about this is right before they flipped the Queen of Diamonds to say he won, he promised all his buddies like $10,000 each. And then you see pictures of his buddies, and there's a bunch of them. And then if you factor in taxes, I don't think he left with very much money.
Yeah, it definitely ate into it somewhat. And then did he tip the dealer? Did he tip the person? We didn't have that discussion at all. And we know how MGM Vegas people love to debate tipping. I'd kind of be the same. I might not say 10 grand, but I'd be like, everybody gets $1,000 to go party tonight or something if this hits. And, hopefully they let him back down if he wanted to after he said it in the moment. But yeah, that's a lot to chew on after you pay taxes and everything. But it's such a cool experience, and it just goes to prove beginner's luck, man. It's a thing.
It's a thing that pisses off every gambler, right? When you see a beginner just sit down, especially something like that, a $407,000 jackpot on a $5 side bet. And then another funny casino quirk, he said when he won the jackpot, he started having all kinds of new friends, people coming up to him, buddying up to him. This is something we've talked about before. I did this as a kid in casinos, and it's crazy to watch it happen all over the place. But yeah, what a nutty story.
The worst thing is when you see something like this hit and the person didn't bet it. And I know it's a sucker bet and all of that, but I had a buddy, it was one of the things like all three queens suited matching type of thing. You get a bonus. It would have been like $15,000, and he wasn't betting it at the time, sitting right next to me. And it was like gut wrenching that, you could have been walking away with a great night, but hey, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, sometimes you can be too smart to make the side bets and then lose, or not smart enough, or just not know better like this guy and walk out with $407,000. Hopefully he doesn't chase that win because he's probably never going to hit it again. Take your winnings and go.
Never gamble again. That's how you do it.
So our next story is a pipe dream, or this is a map that somebody shared. Las Vegas locally shared this of a potential expansion to the monorail. And I know people out there love to talk about our terrible mass transit. We do also have a Vegas loop story to talk about, but I think this looks great. Multicolors, multiple lines, and that's why it's never going to happen.
Yeah, what could have been if they would have done this, 20, 30 years ago. Think of how much better the traffic situation would be, how much easier it would be for people visiting to get around, the airport. I know the taxi companies and then Uber and Lyft and all them would never allow something like this to happen. Although other cities have it, so hey, it will work out how it works out, but this would have been great to see. I still would have love it if they did it now. But we're with tunnels, cars in the tunnels, man. That's our thing.
So when the Vegas Loop did debut back in 2021, when sort of everything reopened, they were supposed to have autonomous cars. That was sort of what was announced from the beginning. But they learned pretty quickly that Tesla's autopilot didn't really work well in the tunnels, and they've said for years they're working on an autonomous solution. It seems like maybe they fixed that. They're going to start implementing a driver assistance tool. I assume this is just the off-the-shelf autopilot. They fixed the sort of reflection issues they were having inside the tunnels. They haven't confirmed that, but it's not full autonomy. But sometime this year, the drivers will start using assistance, so maybe this will get us towards that. They also gave an update on Westgate saying it's done. They're just waiting for approval, that they're almost done to Encore for their second tunnel there. That obviously, as I've talked about before, the Virgin, that University Center loop, Virgin is done, and they're now digging out the machine, and they're going all the way to that land across from Thomas and Mack. So it just seems like this is moving so slow. But autonomy, so they can fire all the drivers.
Yeah, and then you have an extra seat for people sitting, unless they need that for something. That opens up a seat for passengers, which is kind of cool, and adds a lot of capacity that wasn't there. You're talking 20 to 25% more capacity, depending on how many people you squish in there. But I'm still skeptical that it works well. I don't know. Like, I feel like there will be issues, and there's always issues, even on trains on rails. There's always issues here and there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those, and then how quickly they're corrected, or if there's horror stories where it becomes a bigger issue, or if they're fast at fixing it. Because that's how you really, decide if something works or not, is when it goes wrong, how quickly can they fix the solution, come up with a solution.
And I didn't have it in the rundown, but we're seeing more and more autonomous tech above the grounds in Las Vegas with companies like Zoox and many other companies running autonomous taxis. In fact, somebody sent me a picture on X of this small bus. It's an autonomous 8 to 10 seater bus that's testing in Las Vegas too. So yeah, that's sort of happening above ground. Below ground, I think it's going to be a while.
Nope, we're not getting on that. It's got to be a couple years.
Oh, they don't go very fast. It's all fun. They're everywhere. San Francisco's full of autonomous taxis. Did you see that video of them honking at each other, right?
They go faster than the pedal pub, so that's dangerous enough.
There's a video from San Francisco of all of the Waymo taxis. They park in the same parking lot in the middle of the night, but they would trigger each other, so they start honking at each other because they were getting in each other's way, and then all the neighbors are complaining as these autonomous taxis just honk at 4 a.m. at each other. That's the future. It's amazing.
Yeah, who cares about the sphere rattling your windows when you're going to have autonomous taxis just honking all night?
So we've talked about buffets a lot in the recent past, and Bacchanal I still think stands above as far as popularity among all of them. I don't think it's the best. Wynn is the best to me, but Bacchanal is sort of iconic and everybody goes there. There was a video recently on Bon Appetit on their YouTube channel kind of showing every position in the Caesar's Bacchanal buffet, from the chefs to the cooks to the people who create each individual dish. I thought it was an interesting look. I don't know that there was a lot of positions that I didn't know about or think about, but they're serving 4,000 people a day. It's an intense operation, hundreds of employees. Kind of neat to see the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of expected, what you would expect to see as far as the difference of employees and what their jobs are and all that. But it is really interesting to see like how many are working at one time. Like, you envision it being a lot of people, but it's way more than I expected. Like, they have 45 people washing dishes at any given time, which is just blows my mind. And I know, Lobster guy took like 20 plates, so they got to wash all those. There's definitely a high use of, utensils and plates and all that stuff. So I understand that it's like fast moving and everything, but 45 people just kind of blew my mind.
Speaking of Lobster guy, Mark, he did an interview with the casino buffet manager that's in that video from Palms. I'll put a link down. I don't want to talk too much more about it, but I think he just confirmed what we all thought about him in that interview.
Yeah.
In that interview.
Yeah. I love how like he starts it like, oh, 50 lobsters, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I just had 50 like, what? That is a big deal. I give props to the manager for going on there. He tore him up. It was a butt kicking on TV live. Like, basically you watch it, the guy posts the video of him just getting like taken apart by the manager.
The one thing the manager said that I think he's going to regret is he told the guy, if you had let us know ahead of time, we would have taken good care of you and had a good server for you and, made it nice for you to film and everything. And he didn't realize he opened himself up to every influencer in the world emailing him and sending him a message. He probably got bombarded with hundreds of people wanting free buffets now. And I think he's going to regret that.
Yeah, I hate that aspect of it. I wouldn't even offer that to people, which I know that can get you bad reviews and everything. But if you don't pay for it, I don't think that you should be doing a review of it. If you just go in there to show like the process, that's one thing. But if you're actually giving like a take, I think you should pay for it.
So our last story is an interesting discussion from Reddit. This guy lost a fantasy football bet and he has to spend a night in Las Vegas with no hotel and $20, basically arriving before all of his friends do. Now, we talked about Josh and Rachel's video where they did a similar thing, decided not to get a hotel and spend the whole day in town, but they didn't have this $20 restriction, which makes it quite tough. So I didn't read anybody's answers. I wanted to try to come into this fresh, and I think that you got to make a lot of friends. That's how you're going to survive.
Yeah, what's that Ryan guy's name that does the penny to get home or whatever? Have you ever seen those videos where he like goes around and he starts with a penny and he can only make the money, and he like draws portraits for money and washes windows and stuff just to get enough money to get home. Pretty cool. He's done it a couple times, so definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. But I would definitely bring a backpack full of stuff like drinks, food, snacks, everything. I don't think that was in the rules. So you bring everything you need to make it through the day food wise, because $20 for food does not go very far in Vegas. I love how he's like, where are the cheap tables at? Like, what are you gonna do with $20? Even if it's a $3 table, you can't, like, you're gonna try to turn it into $60. You're gonna lose it. Then you're gonna have no money.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your only 20 so quickly. I think making friends is good. So if you want to drink, if there's somebody's gambling at a slot machine, and cocktail servers will often bring their friends drinks too. So if you can get into that socializing aspect and you want to have more fun, areas where like conference centers, I know Cosmo has some areas, but a lot of these big casinos have out of the way areas where you can sort of get out of the action for a little bit, relax. Just make sure you're not going to sleep or, doing something like that. But I think there's a lot of public spaces and going in and out. I think you just got to hit up all the free stuff to pass the time, the conservatories, the fountains, the flamingos, the everything that's free, things that will kind of interest you to help pass the time. And then just know it's going to be a long night. That area from like 2 to 5 a.m., it gets tough,
Yeah.
especially when you're tired and you didn't have any break all day.
Yeah, there was no restriction on the flight either, I don't think. So if you want to drink, book first class, order all doubles, and put like all the things in your backpack or whatever. So when you're walking around, you have that. That's a way to get around the drinking. I mean, you can get free water at most casinos if you need to do that. So there's ways you could pull it off. But yeah, $20 would be tough. You definitely need to bring some stuff. I mean, the $20 basically just gets you from the airport to wherever you got to be, unless you're going to walk. Oh, no.
Take the bus. Take the bus. There you go.
There you go.
Social
Yeah.
engineering, though, that's what this all comes down to. Social engineering. There are people I know who would have an amazing night eating fine meals with new friends and just figuring it all out. And then there's people like me who would just probably just do it all by myself and find a way to suffer through the whole thing rather than making new friends. But I mean, it really comes down to if you embrace it. Everybody in Vegas is there to have fun. You tell them that you're on this bet, that you're restricted in this way. I guarantee you're going to have a lot of people help you out. I think that really is the key to having a great time in this scenario.
Yeah, I think if somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, I lost this bet. I got to be here for $20 a night," I would buy them dinner, drinks, whatever. I think that's the way to do it. It'd be a lot of fun. Maybe we should do this experiment, Sean, but you have to do it, and I'll just film it.
No, we could. It would be fun, but I suggest Josh and Rachel's video because it gives you an idea of the doldrums of the middle of the night, especially towards the end. But let us know what you guys think. How would you spend the $20? How would you get through the night? Would you even attempt it? The hikes, the story of a Muse dining, that Red Rock, those guys that threw everything down, the blackjack winner, side bet, beginner's luck. Let us know in the comments what you think. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. $20. $20 make you holla.